No.
Good morning.
Morning.
Hey, Mike.
Good morning.
You look a little sunshine.
Yeah, you know what? It's pretty nice out here.
Awesome.
So funny.
Where are you, Mike?
I'm in Maui,
Oh, whereabouts?
Kanapali at the Westin,
Yeah.
and I come home tomorrow, so I'm starting to get my smile is starting to kind of level off.
You guys celebrating anything?
Getting his second shot, I think.
Oh,
Right?
Patrick,
Hello, how are you?
great. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
It's so good to see you.
Oh, it's good to see you too.
And Mike's so excited. Next week's the CAR meeting.
Renee, were you on the forums call yesterday?
No, I heard that it was really like out of a fire hose sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about it for a minute today.
Yeah, they said that there were 3,500 people signed up to go review the new form, and they only had 3,000 slots.
Yeah, I think everyone made it. I didn't hear any complaints.
Oh, yeah. Okay, good.
Hey, I don't see the,
I'm on the nominating committee. I'm so excited.
Good for you.
okay.
We're just admitting people, so we'll give it a few more minutes because people are trying to get in.
Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Morning.
Hi, Roy. Patrick, are you going to need to share your screen?
I'm not.
Okay. All
We're
right.
good.
Maybe one more minute. Rob, what do you think? One more minute?
I would, yeah. We should be good.
Mike, my background is in Maui. That's in Lahaina. That's
Perfect.
that tree. That's a tree in the middle of the park over there.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Just for you today.
You know, the funny thing is that really it looks like Hawaii is wide open. You know, a lot of people are here and all that, but the restaurants are only at 30%.
Oh, wow.
So you can't get reservations or anything like that. So it's interesting how people are coping.
Does that
But-
mean you're buying food at the grocery stores and cooking at the condo or something?
Yesterday, it was an hour and a half waiting list.
Oh my
So we
God.
just kind of went on a hike.
Well, thanks everybody for joining us today. I think we're going to go ahead and get started because all of you guys were on time. We really appreciate it. And I don't know if we have any new people, so I'll go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Laura Gleason, and I'm the team leader in the San Jose Gateway office. And we've got Rob Ross raising his hand. He's the team leader in the Campbell office, Silicon Valley office, and Elaine raising her hand, the team leader in Santa Cruz, and Mike raising his hand, who is our awesome broker. So thanks everybody for joining us. We do have an agenda today that I'm going to quickly share my screen really quick just to show you guys what we're going to be doing today. And I'm going to actually start out with just a couple of announcement reminders. We have a class right after this meeting on the same Zoom. You don't have to go to a different Zoom, starting at 11:30, using 1031 exchange strategies to gain listings with Michelle Chen. I met with Michelle back in February, was really impressed with her, and she has a great presentation to give you another strategy that you can use to gain listings. So I hope you'll stay for her presentation right after our meeting. And then also wanted to remind everybody that we have a Keller Williams University course starting tomorrow, Win with Sellers. It's that theme of getting more listings that we're working on this spring. And so we have 4 of our amazing agents that are going to be teaching this 4-part series, Win with Sellers, starting tomorrow with Gina Odom from Santa Cruz. We'll be teaching Setting the Stage for Your Listing Success tomorrow, April 21st from 1 to 3. And then Ben Beasley from the Carmel office will be teaching on Thursday from 1 to 3, listing presentations that rise to the top. And then next week on Wednesday and Thursday from 1 to 3, we have Charles Coachman from the Silicon Valley office teaching Demonstrate Your Marketing and Negotiation Mojo. And then finally, Yvonne Zinsman from the Gateway office, Contract to Close Systems that Secure Your Future Business. So 4 amazing presenters for you. So we'll hope you join us for that 4-part series starting tomorrow. For today's team meeting, we're going to start with Patrick, who's going to talk to you about using command opportunities for your transactions. And he's our compliance officer for our 3 offices, followed by Mike, our broker, is going to do some updates. And then finally, we're going to have Keller Offers joining us for the latter part of our meeting to talk about the Ready to Sell program. So starting with Patrick, I'm going to stop sharing my screen so we can all see him. Patrick Ames, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be a part of all 3 offices now. And helping facilitate getting the agents your checks in a timely manner. That's mostly what this compliance piece is about for you guys. So if you guys are currently using a in-house TC, this doesn't really apply to you. It applies to if you're using an outside TC or you're doing TC work yourself. It's a new position for us. I know that with Command, it's kind of a work in progress, but there are pre-populated checklists in Command for compliance. So we're asking to please use those pre-populated checklists instead of just dumping a whole bunch of documents into Command and just and having to sift through all of those. There are a lot of required documents for each checklist, and they're going to be highlighted in red. Those are the documents that need to be completed so that you can get your check in time. So what I'm doing is when you submit your file to the Market Center for review, I'll be going through just to make sure that all of the documents are complete and ensuring that all of the most important, the red documents are in the file. If they're not in the file, I kind of just tag them not being in there, and if there's multiple required documents that aren't in the file, I'll be returning the file back to you for review. If there's a certain document that doesn't have to be in your file, please just communicate with me through either Command. There's an add comment that you can add in there, just saying, hey, Patrick, this doesn't need to be in this file for X, Y, and Z reason. Therefore, I could just make sure that you guys are getting your checks in a timely manner and make sure that the Market Center is compiling and just following guidelines with the state to make sure that we're in compliance that way as well. The only other thing that I wanted to speak on is referrals. I know that that's a big thing with Market Center with agents getting paid. Since I've done the MCA position for a while and I'm currently helping the Santa Cruz office, I know that referral business can be a big part of agents' business. And so just making sure that if you know that you've got a referral coming, to please use the referral network in Command to kind of track that process to see where the transaction's at, and communicating with the market center so that when the check comes in, we don't just have this random check floating around not knowing who it belongs to. That typically is the biggest hiccup of when the check comes in and you getting paid. So if we have the information prior to the check getting to the market center, we can guarantee that you're going to get your check a lot quicker. So I didn't have a lot today. I know that, again, the position is a work in progress. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Use the add comment and Command in your opportunity to communicate with me that way. If you're just concerned or not knowing if a document needs to be in your file or not, we can talk that way, or you can email me. I'll put all of my contact information in the chat on this Zoom for you guys.
Awesome, thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Patrick based on what he went over? You must have just knocked it out of the park there, Patrick, because there's no questions for you. And you're putting your information in the chat?
I will, absolutely.
Okay, thank you so much, you guys. Patrick is so easy to work with. You shouldn't have any problem at all working with him. If you do have questions, he wants to make sure that you guys are all doing a great job inside of Command and making this as seamless as possible. So he's very willing to help you through the process, not just at the end. The goal would be to help through the process so that at the end, everything is good to go and we can get your check to you right away, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Mike, you are up next for broker updates.
Thanks. I have three topics I'd like to talk about. The first one is referrals. Not just getting paid a referral, but when we give out referrals. Just a reminder that we can only pay licensed agents. We cannot pay unlicensed agents. And unlicensed agents also include people that have a license but do not hang it with a brokerage. That's an unlicensed agent. So please make sure that we are paying licensed agents. You know, sometimes attorneys want a referral fee, and unless they are licensed, we cannot pay, the office cannot pay an attorney a real estate referral fee. So just keep that in mind. Any questions on that? What you do privately is none of my business. I'm just telling you that regarding, we as an office cannot pay unlicensed agents. Okay. Number two is there's going to be talk about a new purchase contract that is going to be released end of the year in December. Has anyone been on the 3-hour call yesterday going over the contract? Okay, well, anyway, I'll make it brief. It's changing. Right now, our contract is 10 pages. It is changing to 16 pages. But there's some great changes that are happening. Let me tell you what's going to be the same. The transaction process is going to be business as usual. You know, we have the initial deposit, we have the loan application verification, we have active contingency removal, notice to perform, liquidated damages arbitration is still going to be the same, mandatory mediation. So all that is staying the same. What's really changing is the format. Everything that is, all the negotiated points of the contract is going to be on the first page. So it's going to be easy to read, easy to understand. It's the only thing that is not for signature or to change, not on the first page, is going to be liquidated damages, arbitration, and really those are the only two things that are going to be not on the first page. they're going to eliminate the probate contract and the mobile home contract, and they're going to make it an addendum to this contract. So I think they're trying to just bulletproof the contract for us. So we still have to use the existing contract through the end of the year, but start looking for classes being taught by CAR and the associations come August, September. And we'll go into our office, we'll go into full mode probably in September on to get up to speed so that everyone can adapt easily to the new contract. Any questions on the purchase agreement at all? Okay, yeah, I mean, it's still a long time away, but better to be proactive so that we're not scrambling around come December when it's the new contract. And lastly, we have a situation in one of our offices. Luckily, it's not our problem, but it's another feather in the cap for Keller offers. And this is where we, as a real estate agent, we're not acting as a general contractor. Example is we have a transaction where the listing agent hired a plumber to connect the sewer. There was parts of the house that were not connected, and they just went out to a septic. And the agent did everything. The seller didn't do anything. And number one, we can't act as general contractors because they had some different work being done. And number one is that the city can nail us for acting as a general contractor when we're not. And worse than that, what's probably going to happen with this company and this agent is that errors and omissions insurances don't cover us for acting as a general contractor. And so when we organize getting things done, we're really acting as a general contractor. And if there's a problem, errors and omissions insurance will not protect us for a situation like that. So make sure that the seller is involved in the process and that they are hiring the people that are doing the work, or else there's risk to you in getting the listing ready for sale. Other than that, anything else? I can go on for about another half an hour on a lot of things, but I'll save you guys. And
We have time though, Mike. Does anybody have any questions for you? I'm going to go ahead and ask a question about referrals.
Yeah.
I already know the answer, but I think it's a good question to ask. What if I have a client who refers me another client and they're asking me for a referral fee?
Okay, is the client licensed in real estate?
No,
Okay.
they're not.
You know, there's what you legally can do is you can give a gift to show appreciation. Now, what does DRE consider a gift? It used to be $25. Maybe it's more than that, but it's a token gesture is what you could legally do. What you want to do illegally, Laura, that's your business. But as far as the office is concerned, it can only be a gift.
It's not called a referral fee.
No, it's not a referral fee. Now, of course, the Department of Real Estate doesn't care if you are giving a credit or a referral to the buyer or the seller. That's totally legal. They don't have to be licensed. But the one thing that you do have to do so that you're not committing lender fraud is that if there is a credit to the buyer, that it is disclosed in the escrow and it's disclosed to the lender. So the lender knows and approves any credit that is going to be given to the buyer. Failure to disclose that is committing lender fraud.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Who else has questions for Mike?
Mike, I have a question. When the new residential purchase agreement comes out, will that take the place of the existing residential purchase agreement on zip forms, or will they run?
No, it'll be replaced.
Okay,
So we need to get up to speed.
Effective
And,
like January 1st, December 1st.
You know, the rollout, Laura, typically is mid-December. So whenever they roll it out, there's gonna be, you know, I hate to say it, guys, but this is a pretty complicated process we go through when we're dealing with the forms. Um, the RPA form is again, as I said, 16 pages, but that form references 60 addendums or forms in that contract. So we really, it's, you know, sometimes we take it lightly, but we really need to pay attention, and you should devote some time to educate yourself. And I promise you that we'll have multiple times to go over the contracts, go over the new addendums and advisories and the new forms that are going with this. But the purpose of the Standard Forms Committee of CAR, who basically does this, is to make this almost as dummy proof as possible. So it's amazing how much time and energy goes into that these people give, and they've been working on this new contract for 2 years. So and they take every person that has a comment or suggestion or a question. They go through every single question. And yesterday's 3-hour presentation, they are, I think Thursday they're meeting to go over the 400 questions that they got on yesterday's program. So anyway, we're not going to take it lightly. It's a change, but it's not going to be more difficult. It's supposed to be easier, and that's the purpose. Make it easier, simpler, and also protect us better.
The thing is, though, Mike, is that I think making it easier and dummy proof, the gotcha is you still have to read the damn thing and
Oh.
understand it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the biggest challenge.
Yeah, I mean, let me give you one simple thing. And I get this question probably 4 times a year when someone asks, does my buyer have to give the appraisal to the seller? And in this contract, the new contract coming out, they added that verbiage saying that unless it's a appraisal contingency, that the buyer does not have to give the appraisal to the seller. So they're adding more things and more dialogue to eliminate the questions that we have. So, but that's one line that they added in 16 pages worth of contracts. So we're going to have to go over this line by line, and I'm concerned that there's some people that are going to take it too lightly and not deal with it, and then come December when you go in to write a contract with a buyer and you're on a time frame that is faster than you'd like to have. Looking at the contract for the first time might be a little difficult. So that's why CAR, Gov Hutchinson, and the associations are starting the program of education in August. Okay.
Charles has a question, Mike, in the chat box, and it says, will California have reciprocal licenses with any of the Western states?
You know what? I don't know. Not that I'm aware of right now. I believe that California is just California. You know what, but I'll check though.
Other states might have where our license counts, but I don't know if it goes the other way around. Or Cindy, are you raising your hand?
I have a question regarding the general contractor situation, Mike.
Yeah.
So what actions are actually considered being a general contractor? Is it scheduling? Is it arranging the contractors? What is that description?
I would say that getting the subcontractors, getting the vendors to do the work, you're acting as a general contractor. Scheduling is I would argue that that's just making it convenient for the seller to arrange times to get in. That's not general contracting.
So
This person, what this person did, this person hired and this person paid a subcontractor to connect the house to the sewer system.
So was the seller reimbursing the
I
agent?
don't know.
Does that matter, or is it just the
I
initial payment, or?
don't think it matters,
I'm
but
just-
I think the agent screwed up on a previous deal and was making it right. And I think they were paying for it out of their own pocket. And in this case, the plumber only connected a portion of the house to the sewer and not the other portion. It's a mess.
Literally.
Yeah, literally and figuratively. Any other questions for Mike?
Hey, Mike, I actually had a question. It's a little off topic, but I wanted your insight on this real quick.
Only one Mai Tai a day. That's my limit.
All right, good advice. But other one, I was showing homes over the weekend, and it was me and my two buyers. And halfway through the showing, I noticed someone came through the door, and an agent came in with a family of 5 and just started showing the home while I was there. I approached him and I asked him, that we're still showing the house. And his response, I'm paraphrasing, but he basically said, "We're running late. We got a time schedule to keep, so you guys just kind of have to deal with it."
Okay, well, the first thing is that nothing has changed regarding the protocol for showing property. It needs to be by appointment only, and it should only be one group at a time looking at the property. So that's their mistake. That shouldn't happen. Number 2, regarding the 5 people, if they are one family, that's okay. The old rules was limit of 2 people. Well, then they changed it to the household. So the problem is, if there's 5 people, are those people all from the same household? And if they are, then that's okay. But he was wrong or she was wrong purely because they were not abiding by the appointments. It could be the listing agent too. That could be some part of the problem by not having appointment scheduled. I don't know.
Wouldn't it be simple to solve by just going in the property, taking the key with you, going inside, locking the door behind you?
That's
Yeah.
the easiest way to go, Elaine. Just
Yeah.
locking the door behind you, no one can get in.
Well, and it's safer too, because you don't know what random may come along. Maybe it doesn't happen in San Jose.
No, it happens everywhere.
Coming in behind you uninvited. So it's personal safety as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah,
Yeah, Zach, totally okay for you to lock the door next time.
yeah.
Okay.
On a side note, Gov Hutchinson's been saying to us that he expects the state to change the protocol on showing property. He said that 2 weeks ago, and it still hasn't happened yet. So I'm looking for some sort of a change coming down from the state level, but as of right now, that has not happened.
So you mean loosening it up? Is that what you mean, Mike?
Yeah, I imagine so. And that's what I gathered. I mean, the protocols, really what I think is going to happen is as they discover that there's less and less risk for surface exposure, that, the idea of wiping down things and wiping down those type of surface areas, I think are going to be loosened up. I don't know about open houses. I don't know about other, peds. I don't know about other things, but I think at a minimum, there should be some loosening up regarding how to, being able to touch a doorknob and not being worried about it. So look for that to happen. But in the meantime, just keep doing what you're doing right now, and is keeping up the same protocols that you've been doing for the last few months.
Any other questions? Elaine, do you know who's joining us from Keller Offers?
I do not, and I don't see them on here. And I was
Okay.
checking my email, Laura.
I have a question regarding the PDV.
About the what?
I felt few of them lately, and there wasn't
Elsie, what the PED, is that what you said? You have a question about?
Yeah, the PED. When you're going as a family, do you need to name every person in that family to have their name on the PDV? And there wasn't an option to add like 5 names on that document. There was only the broker and 2 others.
Yeah, I would say that it's young adults or older. So I mean, little kids, I don't think that's a big concern, but I do think that people that can sign that are 16 years or older should be on the PED.
Mike, there's a question in the chat from Charles. When can we begin leaving flyers on doors once again? Are we okay to do that now?
Great question, Charles. The state rules have not changed. However, I was on the call with Gov Hutchinson last week, and he's saying he's going out on a limb, and he said that it's okay to leave out a printed material at properties. So I have not conveyed that message up until this second to anybody, but Gov Hutchinson said it's okay to leave printed material at property. Now, the problem with that is he did not say that it's okay to cold call and knock on doors. So if you just want to leave printed property on the, I still think it's a risk, because Santa Cruz might be a little bit easier than Santa Clara County, but Santa Clara County hasn't said anything yet. And I would, even though Gov said that it's okay, I would like to get the Santa Clara County to get the buy-in. And if Santa Clara County gives the buy-in, I'm pretty sure Santa Cruz will give the buy-in too. So I think it's coming down the pike, Charles, but I would wait till I get something from the county level to confirm that.
Mike, you might want to tell everybody who Gov Hutchinson is, because there's a lot of new people.
Is the lead attorney and for CAR, and a lot of our actions are blessed by Gov Hutchinson, who's the lead attorney. I think that's his title. I don't know exactly, but for the California Association of Realtors on that.
Elaine, I thought our person joined, but now I can't find them. Galen or Galen, however she says.
I'm here. This is actually Jennifer from Keller.
Oh, hey, Jennifer, she's here. Okay.
Where are they?
Yeah, hi, Jennifer.
Hello.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, Mike.
So Jennifer's joining us from Keller Offers. Just by a show of raised hands, how many of you have gone in and taken the training that is required for you to participate in Keller Offers? Good job, Rob. Okay, so that's why Jennifer's here today, to remind you guys about the mandatory training, which will tell you how the system works, to fill everybody in on where they are with using Keller offers, and to get you excited about this amazing opportunity. It's all you, Jennifer.
Do you need to share your screen, Jennifer?
Yes, I do. And it looks like I do have the ability, so that's perfect.
Okay,
Thank you so
great.
much. Awesome. Can you all confirm that you can see those slides?
Yes, thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me here today. We're always excited to talk to Keller Williams agents about the tools that we have available for them through us at Keller Offers. So today we're talking about that new Ready to Sell program that is now available in San Francisco and San Jose. So we'll start off with some initial information
And Santa
about the
Cruz.
program.
And Santa Cruz.
Yes, and Santa Cruz. And so we'll start with a little bit of initial information. I'll tell you how you can get certified, and then it looks like we'll have a little bit of time for any of your questions. So first, we did want to clarify that Keller Offers is multiple programs. So we did start with our cash offer program, which launched around Mega Camp 2019. And this may be how you know the Keller Offers name initially. The cash offer program is not yet available in any California markets, but I just wanted to let you know that, just to be fully transparent. So you're not looking towards the cash offer program. We're talking about the available Ready to Sell program today. So our new concierge program is called Ready to Sell. And through this program, certified agents can help their sellers prep their homes for the market while avoiding out-of-pocket costs and hassle. The first step in getting started in this new program is just taking our free training. We try to make it as easy as possible for you. There are 2 different ways that you can get trained, and we'll talk about that in just a few minutes. But let's dig into what the Ready to Sell program is. Our concierge type service is referred to as Ready to Sell because we allow sellers to use it for home inspection items to get the home sold, as well as cosmetic updates and cosmetic upgrades. We all know homes are rarely ready to put on the market as is, so sometimes it's just a little bit of extra TLC that can help the buyers visualize themselves in that space. So you can utilize this program for any of your staging needs. You can utilize it for paint throughout the home, both interior and exterior. We can do flooring replacement and repair, landscaping to the outside of the house, and more. Really, the sky's the limit with this program. We are all about options here at Keller Offers. So we do have 2 different options in this Ready to Sell program. That way you as a certified agent can accommodate any type of seller that comes your way, no matter their situation. So both options are currently available in San Francisco, San Jose, and Santa Cruz. And I'll just talk about each of these briefly. So the same as cash creditworthiness option on the left is a 0% interest loan for 12 months. It is also a personal loan. It is not tied to the property in any way. There is a minimum required credit score for this option, which is 660. And as far as the loan application itself, it's very easy for the seller to fill out. They can do it on the phone or electronically, however they feel the most comfortable. And in most instances, they hear approval status within just a few minutes. Moving over to the right, the equity-based option is awesome if maybe you have a seller that doesn't quite have that 660 credit score, but maybe they've been in their home for years and have decent equity at this point. So in the equity-based side of our program, a deed of trust or similar documentation would be executed to secure those funds. And we would require a minimum of 20% equity in the home, and that is after renovation costs and closing costs, including your agent commissions. During our agent training itself, we do go into detail about both of these options. That way you as an agent know how to talk about them and message them to your clients. We're also providing you with detailed flyers that you can take to the listing appointment itself that go into the details of processes in these 2 options and talk a little bit more about our vetted vendor network. So next, we wanted to take you through a couple of agent success stories. Keller Offers did run the Concierge Lab in 2020. And this specific example was with one of our lab agents, Caroline Huo, in the San Francisco market. And this one was more of a luxury property. The as-is value was $1.9 million. $60,000 was invested through that Concierge Lab program. And all of these work items can be accomplished in our Ready to Sell program as well. So they did flooring, paint, drywall, staging, and landscaping to this home. That home listed and sold for $2.5 million with just 4 days on market. So that $60,000 investment turned into a return of over $600,000 in that seller's pocket. So let's take a look at her before and after images. So the first thing that I want to point out is that fireplace that we are looking at in the before image. The agent was very creative with this renovation and knew something had to be done with that fireplace. Upon digging in, they found that a full removal would have been more expensive. So instead, they decided to encase it in drywall with the after shown on the right, which ended up looking fabulous. Other things to point out in this room specifically are the flooring. They actually installed a fancy vinyl to this home. Paint throughout, which has been the #1 item as recommended by our concierge lab agents that has made the biggest difference in all of their projects. And of course, in this room specifically, staging. Next, we're going to look at a property that closed earlier in March with one of our certified agents, Deborah Blue, and she is in the Atlanta market. We love this example. This is actually an older client of Deborah's, and she originally helped this client buy this same home about 15 plus years ago. What Deborah did after she got ready to sell certified, in general, she sends out a monthly magazine to her SOI. So one of the first highlights she did after being certified was a big ready to sell spread in that monthly magazine to her SOI. That is how that seller and her got back into contact, and that is what resulted in this project. The seller has also not updated the home since it was purchased. So we're about to look at the before and after images, but you can see a lot of the color palette and a lot of the finishes are the darker colors that were popular about 15 years ago. So looking at the numbers here, the as-is value of this home was $415,000. Deborah and her seller decided to invest $49,000 through our Ready to Sell program. And this included an exterior deck replacement, installation of a wet bar in the basement, kitchen makeover, and more. So let's go ahead and look at her photos. So here's the kitchen. You can tell that it's definitely night and day as far as the before and afters. Here they color matched appliances. They replaced kitchen backsplash and countertops, and they painted cabinets. So they were able to save those cabinets, save a little bit of money, and instead they were able to paint those. I did want to point out through that back door and window, you can see a back deck, which was also addressed in the Ready to Sell program. So here's the back deck. Prior to the tear down of this deck, the old deck had a big hole right outside of the back door of the property. The agent Deborah knew that something had to be done here. So through the Ready to Sell program, they tore down that rotted deck and entirely replaced it with a brand new one. Here is a living room in that house, and paint made the biggest difference here. It's hard to see in the before picture, but this was actually a darker brown color. And once again, we really opened up the home with brighter paint colors, paint throughout. This is the basement of that same property. And the seller said that they just essentially never got around to finishing the bar area. So through the Ready to Sell program, they renovated and painted the entire basement and fully installed that wet bar. Last but not least, here's a bathroom in that property. If you can believe it, the seller was actually living in the home with the condition that you're seeing in the before picture. So our Ready to Sell program took care of this quickly and easily with the after shown on the right. So let's go ahead and talk numbers. Once renovation was complete, the agent had a fully booked schedule and even let us know that her voice mailbox was full for the first time in her career. She had over 30 showings the first weekend, multiple offers over ask, non-contingent. The property was under contract in 2 days, $26,000 over asking price, and the actual return on investment was $61,000 in that seller's pocket. I also wanted to mention that the agent took both sides of the transaction and the seller was thrilled with the results. So another great reason to utilize the Keller Offers Ready to Sell program is our program vetted vendors. So these are licensed vendors. They are bonded and insured, and Keller Offers has reviewed previous jobs to ensure a high level of quality for both you and your clients. I also wanted to mention that every project has an assigned GC for your protection. Especially in California, we do want to avoid the agent ever even being potentially seen as a GC on these projects. I also wanted to mention, as far as the vendors, these vendors are also committed to doing quality work on timelines that your sellers may have trouble coordinating themselves. So if your seller does want to do that multi-part renovation to their home, it could involve hiring and vetting multiple contractors at different times. What we're looking to accomplish in this Ready to Sell program is put simplicity and expertise at their fingertips, our program vetted vendors, and you as the certified agent. Our program also allows for KW agents to introduce their vendors for consideration. So if you have a GC that you love working with in the area, just know that you will be able to introduce them to our Ready to Sell program. They will have to go through that same vetting process. They must satisfy minimum requirements and agree to program terms, but you would be able to introduce them to us at Keller Offers whenever you're taking that ready to sell training for the first time. So keep that in mind. Once you are trained and certified with us, we do give you access to our agent marketing. So you'll have an agent resources section with all of your class documents, marketing materials, and video content. We do hold Keller Offers masterminds on a monthly basis, and any recordings can be found in the resources section. On the slide here, you're just seeing a few different examples of marketing materials that you'll have access to as certified agents. So on the left, we have a couple of social media graphics, and on the right, we have a seller-facing FAQ flyer. There are many more that you'll be able to take advantage of. Also, once you're certified, you do have the ability to set up one-on-one 30-minute sessions with our Keller Offers graphic designer. This is great whether you want to customize and put your contact information on any of our marketing materials, or if you just want to utilize those appointments to get feedback on some of the marketing materials that you and your team have come up with for this Ready to Sell program. So let's talk about how you can get started utilizing this new tool. Our training will go into detail around deferred maintenance versus ROI, or return on investment. We'll talk about both of those program processes. We'll talk about required documentation and, of course, the general process. We give you two different ways that you can get trained with us. We try to make it as easy as possible for you. So you can go to one of our future Zoom webinar classes. We hold these about once a month. Our classes were just last week, so our next class is actually upcoming on May 19th. Likely a lot of you won't want to wait until May 19th, so I do have another option for you. We do have an on-demand training platform that you can utilize as soon as today. So on demand separates that 2-hour class into segments that you can take at your convenience. So that means you can do 10 minutes today, 20 minutes tomorrow, or if you just have a busier schedule or can't meet that May 19th date, you can do it all in one sitting on an evening or a weekend. To access both options, whether you want to do the live webinar or on demand, you're going to that same URL, app.kelleroffers.com. And to find the on-demand training dropdown, it's just the one that I'm showing you on your slide right here. It's just a dropdown on the top bar of your home screen. You'll click Ready to Sell from that option. When you first go to app.kelleroffers.com, I just wanted to set some expectations around what you may see for the first time. So this is what the home screen looks like. Likely a lot of you have not created accounts with Keller Offers before, so you'll click this little sign up button on the bottom. Once you do so, we just need a few pieces of information from you to create these accounts. So we do need your full name. We do need your KW email, and I wanted to bring that up here in case you need to dig around and find it. We know that maybe half of the Keller Williams agents utilize that KW email. Half of you may use Gmails or other type of team emails. But just to let everyone know, Keller Offers is exclusively for Keller Williams agents. So we use this email to create your account and to authenticate that you are in fact with KW. So we do need your KW email whenever you're creating your account. As far as your Market Center ID, we're just looking for your Market Center number. And then of course, phone number is whatever preferred phone number you want to put on file with us. Once again, there is absolutely no class fee to get started. This is a free class, free program exclusively for you as Keller Williams agents. You can get started with on demand as soon as today, or you can wait until our next live webinar on the 19th of May. That URL to get started is just app.kelleroffers.com, and this will actually be your URL while being certified as well to utilize to access those resources, anything Keller Offers related. And if you do have any questions as you're creating those accounts or as you're getting started, please email us anytime at questions@kelleroffers.com. That's questions with the S at kelleroffers.com. But I do think, I believe we have a few minutes for your initial questions now, so we can go ahead and go through those now. Yes, I see a hand raised.
I have a question.
Yes.
This is, we deal a lot, I deal a lot with people who probates or trusts, you know, where someone's passed away and the house is dated. Would you be able to service someone that through a probate or through a trust, or does it have to be an individual who has that credit score of 600 that you talked about?
Yeah, and it really just depends where they are in that probate process, but you are correct. If they are looking to utilize that credit worthiness side of the program, there will need to be an actual person who can take out that personal loan. So if there's someone that can do that, then absolutely you can utilize this program for those type of projects.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Elsie, we see you have a question, but you're muted.
Yeah, I needed to ask, is there any fee for estimate, kind of what kind of estimates to expect when it is going through that process for clients?
Yes, so it sounds like you're asking about, is there a fee to get a bid from the vendors? Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. So to answer the question, there's absolutely no fee to get a bid from the vendor. In the training process, you'll see that essentially whenever you have a seller in mind and you want to submit them for consideration for this program, you will start with what we call a pro form request to us at Keller Offers. At that point, we will evaluate the request and we will assign a vendor who can do this as soon as possible for your client. And then you will coordinate with the vendor to schedule the upcoming bid appointment. At that time, once the bid comes back from the vendor, you will be able to review this with your seller with no obligation. So at this time, you can accept the bid itself, decline it, or also modify it. So we definitely want and need your seller's approval before we even get started with work. So you have that review opportunity.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
There is a question in the chat about how many contractors are lined up for the San Jose market.
Yeah, I don't have that number just off the top of my head, but before we launch any market, we do ensure GC coverage. So that means regardless of whether you have a GC that you would like to introduce that you have contact with, we have you covered. So you can submit these ready to sell requests as soon as today, and we have vendors that can go out and do those jobs right away.
And then if they have a specific contractor that's licensed and bonded, blah, 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 they can submit that person for review as well.
Correct. Yes, you'd be able to submit those for consideration upon taking your ready to sell training. So that would be sent to you in a link after you complete on-demand training, or we would send out that link live during the live webinar on May 19th.
Great. Thank you. Does anyone have any other questions?
Terry has a question.
Yeah, so is this something that we might be able to use for buyers after close of escrow that are looking at fixers?
Terry, that is a great question. And that is definitely something that we are looking at as Keller Offers. And that's something that we're looking to release to agents likely in Q3 of this year, because we've seen in this crazy market of low inventory, these sellers or these buyers, I should say, are spending every last dime to even get in the home. So we're seeing a need for sellers to utilize that same 0% interest 12-month component on the properties that they're actually moving into. So yes, absolutely, that is on the way from us at Keller Offers. We will keep you updated when that is live in your market.
That'll be awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, we're excited.
Elsie, another question?
Yeah, one more. Is there any data for comparable prices between what you offer for price-wise, and the free range kind of contractors out there?
Yeah, so we don't have any type of pricing comparisons. And what we let you know during training is you should set expectations with your seller around cost. It may be slightly higher than they're used to seeing with the average mom and pop that they're seeing in their market. But what we are offering is high touch, all vendors for the project at once, and ensured quality of the vendors. So that's an expectation that you can set up front with your clients when talking about this program.
Okay, great.
Jennifer, Phoebe has a question. You have to unmute yourself.
Jennifer, so
yeah, okay.
Yes, Jennifer, so like the source of the fund, are they like through bank, like who is providing this source of fund?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we are working with a partner called Enerbank, and they are the ones that are offering that 0% 12-month interest loan component. So that's Enerbank. It's ENER, Enerbank. And we'll give you additional information during the actual training itself.
Yvonne, oh, sorry. Go ahead. Finish, CB.
Is this only for a residential, or do they do commercial as well?
This is just residential for now.
Okay, got it.
Yvonne, I see you have a question.
Yes, Jennifer, I was just wondering, is there a guaranteed timeline? I know you mentioned something about that. They'll do it as soon as possible, but does the vendors that you have already in place, have you set up a specific timeline that we want to, a guideline?
Yes, absolutely. And I will say, if your client has an urgent need, they need to get timeline started as soon as possible. The credit worthiness option for our ready to sell program is going to be your best bet to get vendors and work started as soon as possible. So as long as you are utilizing that side of the program, you and your seller are on top of any documentation that we need from you, we can typically get vendors out and work started within a week and a half to 2 weeks.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, any other questions?
Jennifer, is there a
Yes.
limit how much they will fund for the property?
Yes, and that's a great question. So for the credit worthiness side of the program, the minimum is $1,000 and your seller can apply for up to $75,000. With the equity-based option, the minimum is once again $1,000 and the maximum amount really depends on how much equity they have in their home. And we've seen this range upwards of $100,000 in the more luxury properties.
Got it. It's a great program. Thank you.
Thank you.
One more question, Jennifer.
Sure.
The staging. So you also have set stagers that have already signed up or been, approved?
Correct. Yes. So we have stagers already set up and ready in your area.
Okay. And then can we get a list of that after, I guess we have to take the class first?
Yeah, what I can do is let me contact my vendor team and I can see if I can pull that for y'all for your market center in general. And I can send that to Laura after this call or whoever, and they can share that out.
Okay.
Jennifer, there's a question in the chat. There's two questions. One is, do the sellers have a say in what the materials, the colors, the finishes are and the staging? That's the first question. And
Yes,
the second question is, how is the bank getting compensated and is there a kickback from the contractors?
Yeah, great question. So to address the first question, I will say the agent has a say in what the materials and the colors are. Remember, we're not catering to the seller's to-do list or their tastes. We're just looking at what's getting this home ready to sell. And we know you as the agents are the expert in the market. We know that you are aware of what's selling, what type of upgrades are selling. So we don't want to give in to any sellers that may want to do an orange room or something like that. It's really with the agent's expertise and guidance. But yes, our vendors and stagers are open to your suggestions, and they'll also come with color palettes that match the current trends in your market. And to address the second question, this is a great one as well. So to be fully transparent, Keller Offers does receive a fee from the vendors after we have ensured quality work has been completed by then. And in this fee, Keller Offers is also paying our banking partner, Interbank, so your sellers can utilize that 0% 12-month loan. So that is not a free component. That is something that Keller Offers is paying for, so your sellers can utilize that option. And that's coming out of that small vendor fee.
Yvonne, you have a question?
Yeah, one quick follow-up, Jennifer. So the renovations and prep, it's okay if it's occupied, or does it have to be?
Yes.
Good question.
Yes. Yeah, and the project that I just showed you with Deborah Blue, the multi-part renovation project, that was actually an owner-occupied property. So that's mostly what we're seeing so far in this ready to sell program.
Okay, great.
And
Jennifer?
Yes.
Yes. So I work with a lot of like foreign owners. So a lot of time the equity is like maybe 50% or even more because they pay like sometimes all cash, they pull out some like, so with those people, they don't have credit, but they have a lot of equity in the property. Would that work?
Yes, absolutely. So we have those two different options for your sellers coming in. So credit worthiness is great if they do have that 660 credit score. They get to utilize the 0% for 12 months. And then remember, equity is kind of the answer for your sellers that don't have the credit score. So a completely different option within the ready to sell program where you can utilize the equity in the home to get those funds.
With that said, so if I have people who own the property for 20 years, 30 years, they have a lot of equity, no money to renovate, make it better to sell, those people can qualify then.
Yes, this sounds like it'd be a great match for those sellers.
Oh, that sounds great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Josh, you have your hand up.
Yeah, what if, so say the sellers are purchasing after this, how does this loan process affect their potential financing for a future property?
Yeah, that's a great question. And what we do is we recommend for you to instruct your sellers that they should be getting pre-approved before we start this ready to sell process for the purchase of their next home. And as long as they're getting pre-approved, we've seen in most instances, the timing does not interfere at all.
Okay. And I'm also assuming that because this is either the loan or the equity, basically that's sort of to set them up that in the event that this falls out or they decide to take the home off the market, they're basically just updating their home, because I could see there being pushback if that we choose everything and then they, for whatever reason, it falls out, they end up taking it off the market. Now they're in a home that they didn't choose any of the,
Yeah, definitely. And that's a great point as well. And we do have a few required documents that we'll go over during training. And one of those is a listing agreement addendum, which talks about a few of the components that you just mentioned. We're also letting Market Center leadership know, and we've also spoke to your OPs and the legal counsel in Northern California. We've let them know that you can also add in an additional page that's added in by your Market Center with language around what happens if the seller does fall back in love with their home and decides to stay. Each Market Center is treating this component a little bit different. It might be a percentage for some, it might be a flat fee for some, but we're letting that be up to you and your leadership.
You guys, we're quickly running out of time here, and we have another presentation that's supposed to start right now. Is there any final last very quick question?
I have a final last quick question.
Okay.
Is there, I see Keller offer, they have Keller offers cash offer and Keller offers ready to sell. Seems like they both are for sellers. Is there a angle for buyers? Like if we are representing the buyers and buyers are interested in renovating the home in which they're buying, and that could become a negotiation. Is there an angle for buyers?
So at this time, we do not have a program that addresses that component right now. That is something that we're working on for Q3 of this year. And we're also looking into other Keller offers programs, such as a buy before you sell component. We know that is definitely a need in this low inventory market. So we'll keep all of you updated, including leadership, on our newer releases coming out in 2021.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time, Jennifer. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. Of course. Thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you so
I'm
much.
sure we'll invite you back.
Thank you. So Michelle, I see you've joined us. Thank you. Rob, it's Michelle Chen. If you can have her be able to co-host, that'd be great.
And if everybody else is not interested in staying on, we're done with our meeting and we'll see y'all soon.
Yeah. Thank you everybody for joining us. And we have, again, Michelle Chen is here to talk about how to take more listings using exchange strategies. And Rob, could we stop the recording and then restart it so that it's a different recording?